through this period, she had health problems that Edward would mention every once in a while. Well, Edward continued to try to get his debts paid off with various enterprises, including a bookstore. He had another bookstore in Portland, and he conducted his legal practice in addition to representing the Kajak proprietors and his father. This was the period when the toll bridge was built and so on. Edward was also affected by the second Great Awakening, which was a religious movement, a lot of religious conversions, and he became a member of the Second Parish Church in Portland, which does not exist now. It was burned in the 1866 fire. And the only picture, besides a painting of the fire, the only picture that I could find with regard to the Second Parish Church was from a map of Portland that had little pictures of all the churches on the map. So that's where I was able to find that. But he was very much influenced by a powerful preacher named Edward Payson, Reverend Edward Payson. Payson was an ardent Trinitarian, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And there was a competing view within the Congregational Church, the Unitarian view, but Edward Payson was a Trinitarian, and Edward became a Trinitarian, so that when he established this church in Danville, he specified that it had to be a Trinitarian church rather than Unitarian in doctrine. Edward Little died 21st of September 1849 at age 76 of congestion of the lungs. And so he was incapacitated for several months, sat up in a chair, could not lie down. And he is buried in Oak Hill Cemetery in an elaborate family plot. This is the little plot. These are the regular plots. And Edward himself and his two wives, he had a second wife that he married in 1830 something, around that.
Also named Hannah?
I'm sorry?
Also named Hannah?
Also named Hannah, yes. Yes. Hannah Andrews Chase, a widow that he married, who had 3 surviving children, who also came to live with them in Danville. And so this is I'll get so I can see it better. Okay, here's Edward and his 2 wives. Josiah Little's plot. This is Edward Toppin Little's plot. I went to the cemetery, and there is a football on top of Edward Toppin Little's monument. And I think the high schooler who put that there, I'm assuming it's high schooler, was misled that this is the one that is the namesake of the school. But anyway, that's there. Okay, and then Thomas is there. And then here are the Clarks, Charles and Sarah Clark. And here are the Pickards, Samuel and Hannah Pickard. And here are the second wife's, two of the children's families in that plot. I don't know whether you're interested in that. But to find it, you just go to Oak Hill Cemetery off Riverside Drive, There are the pillars, the brick pillars. You just go straight up the hill, and you'll find this main highway, and here's the lot. Okay, this is unknown Edward Little. You know much more about Edward Little than you did before, or we know much more. He wasn't just a rich man who lived a life of ease and was a philanthropist with regard to the church and the school and so forth. He had his problems, he had his difficulties in life, both personal in terms of his family situation, all his debt especially was a problem. So we have a richer understanding of this guy as to he was not simply a philanthropist, but he did have a strong community spirit. He was interested in the community, but also he was an investor in the railroads and so forth. But he did support these enterprises, and so this is what we know about Edward Little that I've been able to uncover. Okay, David.
Doug, do you have any sense for where Josiah's wealth went? Edward apparently got some of it. Did he get the lion's share, or?
No, there were five siblings, and yeah, there were two brothers. Well, Michael died just before his father died, and so it was Stover, Josiah Stover, Little, that but it was divided 5 ways. For Stover, Edward, and Josiah Jr., we'll call him, as well as 2 sisters who married William Atkinson, and one married a Little, some cousin. So it was divided 5 ways, and then it dispersed somewhat, I suppose, as it goes down from Josiah to his family, his 5 children. I was never able to determine what happened to Edward Little's, except for the land. The land was documented that Edward Little owned at his death. That land was documented in the deeds, and so I was able to see how that got divided. It got evenly divided, but the probate records were all destroyed. Marty, who deals with this sort of thing, the probate records were destroyed in the Portland fire in the early 1900s, so we don't know the money that was distributed. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, it was apparently enough, though, that he could go from being roughly $500,000 in debt as a result of the embargo and the fire to, within a few short decades later, being comfortable enough that he could invest money, create churches, create
Oh, I see where you're going. Okay. It was pretty much settled somehow. His father signed off on the debt around 1829, just before his death. He signed off on these debts. I don't know whether he absorbed them. I imagine he might have. He kept complaining about how Edward would bankrupt him, but he probably absorbed some of it. But they ultimately kind of settled it before Josiah Sr.'s death, so that Edward was free to just take what he inherited and do whatever, invest it, and to
understanding is that the little family had sort of a relationship with a landlord situation, both with Moses, Josiah, and Edward Little was sort of sent to collect the rent and whatever, and Josiah didn't really want to sell land, but Edward Little was willing to sell the land and deal with the squatters and whatever. Is that your understanding, or am I understanding incorrectly?
Okay, Josiah had a very difficult relationship with the settlers,
Yes, and so did Moses.
and Moses did earlier. But Josiah particularly was hard-nosed, and he would come up. I don't know, I didn't see much about Moses coming up here and harassing the settlers, but Josiah certainly came up on an annual basis, if not more often, to harass the settlers, to get them to pay for their land, which they already thought they already had, or to pay rent, to collect the rents. And then Edward became kind of a buffer between the settlers and his father. And he would say several times in the letters, he would say, I am doing just as you would want me to do if you knew the situation that X has a problem. You know, some settler had a real problem that Edward understood, and would give him a pass in terms of paying off. And so Edward served as this buffer, and well, I leave it at that. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, because during this period, 1815, 1816, a lot of people had a lot of problems even paying their taxes.
Yeah, because of the
Climate change.
climate change. Yes. 1816 and froze to death. The summer, the year without a summer.
Crops failed.
Yes. Yeah, it was during that period also, however, that a lot of the settlers, under legislation passed by the Massachusetts legislature, that regulated how much the Pajewska proprietors could charge. And so the settlers were able to get their land free and clear. This is a little complex because at the same time, Edward Little had recommended to Josiah that he buy out the Pajewska proprietors. And he did. In 1817, he bought out the Pajewska proprietors. And so it became only Josiah and Edward Little and the settlers. And you no longer have the Pajewska proprietors as an actor. And so there was a lot of settling going on. Settling in terms of people getting their deeds for their property.
And some of these people really thought they had clear title to their
Oh,
land.
yeah, they thought they did already have clear title. Sometimes, because often they might have got it from a previous owner, alleged owner. And they thought, well, I've already paid for this land. From Deacon Litchfield, I've already got this land. Or they may have, if they were on the borders of the contested lands between the Pajewska proprietors and the Kennebec proprietors, they may have already purchased it from the Kennebec proprietors. And then a third situation is they felt this was unoccupied land sweat of my brow. I built my little cabin, and it's mine. And now Josiah comes along and says that he wants me to pay for it. And the settlers felt that because these were royal grants, that the Jessica proprietors had received in 1700 something. Now the revolution has occurred, and it's no longer valid.
How did they initiate?
So that's some of what's going on in this period.
How did they initiate the claim? How did he come up and say, you owe me for the land? Did he bring him to court or give him a bill?
Well, I can cite what the Jessica proprietors did with regard to Lewiston. And Dave Chittum loves this map that,
Yeah, I think
that in 1795, the Jessica proprietors with Mr. Amos Davis, plotted out who had what. And if you hadn't paid for that particular plot, then you should come and pay for it.
Oh, it's a brand new map or something.
I'm sorry?
A brand new map? A new, you
Oh,
said-
well, you see, it was in 1770 that, well, 1768, that the land, I'm going to use Lewiston because I know it best, in 1768, the Vizhevska proprietors granted the land, which was Lewiston, to Moses Little and Josiah Bagley on the condition that they bring in 50 settlers. And so they started bringing in these 50 settlers, and